He was the most elusive and consistent running back to ever play the game.
Touchdown! Lions, Barry Sanders!
Barry has got a God-given talent.
Barry Sanders was the best running back I ever seen touch a football.
81 yards! He's done it again!
He was the kind of running back who didn't just break tackles, he broke ankles and left players reaching for ghosts. Barry Sanders was often the smallest player on the field, yet his very presence left defenders terrified. And just as he was staking his claim as the greatest running back of all time, at age 30, he did the unthinkable.
And really just kind of waited till the last minute.
He walked away from football forever, leaving fans, teammates, and the entire NFL stunned. No injury, no scandal. Why would someone so unstoppable leave the game in his prime? To make it all make sense, we need to go back to where it began. Barry Sanders was born in Wichita, Kansas, the 7th of 11 children. Life wasn't easy. His father, William, was a roofer and carpenter. His mother, Shirley, worked as a registered nurse. And when the family grew, providing for them became a team effort. Barry and 2 of his brothers worked as roofer's assistant alongside their father from a very young age. In the Sanders household, 2 things were established early. You grind for everything and you don't complain. These early lessons shaped Barry's mental toughness and humility. He was quiet, humble, and incredibly focused. When he wasn't helping his family make ends meet, he was on the football field or basketball courts. Basketball was his first love, but his father had other ideas. He saw potential in Barry as a football player, the kind of potential that could earn a scholarship and change their lives. Barry trusted his father's vision and shifted his focus to football. Despite his talent, Barry didn't get much attention in high school. Heading into his senior season, he wasn't even the starting running back. His coach thought he was too small and too timid. At 5 foot 8 inches, he didn't look like a bruising back or a flashy recruit. Most scouts overlooked him, but fate intervened in the 4th game of the season. The starting running back got suspended, and Barry finally had his chance. He erupted for 274 yards and 4 touchdowns. It was a breakout game that flipped the narrative. In the final 5 games of the season, he rushed for over 1,000 yards and nearly broke the city record for total yards. From bench warmer to breakout star, Sanders was suddenly on the radar. He earned All-State honors and was named an honorable mention All-American. Yet despite these accolades, big-name colleges still passed. Barry only received offers from 4 schools: Wichita State, Iowa State, Tulsa, and Oklahoma State. He chose the Cowboys. At Oklahoma State, Barry found himself behind an NFL-bound running back, Thurman Thomas. Sanders didn't complain. He watched. He worked, he waited. Over his first 2 seasons, he carried the ball just 179 times, but averaged over 5 yards per carry. He scored 10 touchdowns as a sophomore, and his true impact came on special teams. That year, he led the nation in kickoff return average at 31.6 yards and caused havoc for opposing teams every time he touched the ball. His shiftiness and vision made him one of the most dangerous returners in college football. He was named 2nd-team All-American as a return specialist. Still, nobody could predict what would happen when Thurman Thomas graduated. In 1988, Barry Sanders took over the starting job and delivered arguably the most dominant individual season in college football history. In just 11 games, Sanders rushed for 2,628 yards and 37 touchdowns. On top of that, he added 515 kickoff return yards, 106 punt return yards, and 60 receiving yards, bringing his all-purpose yardage total to 3,248 yards. He averaged over 200 rushing yards per game and scored more than 3 touchdowns per game. And those numbers don't include his Holiday Bowl performance, where he added another 222 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns in just 3 quarters. He shattered records. Most rushing yards in a season, most rushing touchdowns in a season, most all-purpose yards in a season, most points scored in a season. He won the Heisman Trophy by a landslide. And despite it being a pre-social media era, Barry Sanders had become a legend. Everyone in football was talking about the kid from Wichita. After that historic season, Sanders declared for the 1989 NFL Draft. The Detroit Lions selected him 3rd overall, and they didn't waste time showing how much they valued him. His 5-year, $9.5 million deal included a $2.1 million signing bonus, a massive figure for a rookie. From day one, he was expected to change the franchise. Detroit had missed the playoffs in 7 straight seasons. They were desperate for a star. Barry didn't disappoint. As a rookie, he ran for 1,470 yards and 14 touchdowns while adding 282 receiving yards. He came within 11 yards of leading the league in rushing. He broke franchise records, won NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, was selected to the Pro Bowl, and earned first-team All-Pro honors. Year 2, he led the league in rushing with 1,304 yards and another 13 touchdowns and 480 receiving yards. Another Pro Bowl, another All-Pro selection. In just 2 years, he was already a top 5 back in the NFL. In 1991, Sanders took his game to another level. He put the whole city on. More importantly, he led Detroit back to the postseason for the first time since 1983. Then, he did the unthinkable. He helped the Lions win a playoff game, their first since 1962, with a dominant performance against the Cowboys. He followed it up in 1992 with 1,352 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. By this point, defenders were publicly admitting they didn't know how to stop him. Then came 1993. But before we get to what happened to Barry in 1993, we want to give a huge shout out to Mason for joining the Huddle Up channel. And if you want to be entered into our video shout out giveaway, simply subscribe, then comment "I subbed," and you'll be entered to win in our next video. 1993 started the same. Barry Sanders dominating every defense he faced week after week. But in week 13 against the Bears, Barry tore his MCL and missed the final 5 games. It was the first major injury of his career, and people wondered whether he could return to form. For a player who relied on elusiveness, a knee injury could be catastrophic. But Sanders returned for the wild card game and rushed for 169 yards against the Packers, proved the doubters wrong yet again. In 1994, he came back better than ever, leading the NFL with 1,883 rushing yards and adding 283 receiving yards. It was the 4th most rushing yards in a single season in league history. Over the next 2 seasons, Sanders racked up more than 3,000 rushing yards combined. He continued to embarrass defenders with his jukes, spins, and stop on a dime agility. His highlight reels became internet gold before YouTube even existed. By 1996, Barry had become the first running back in NFL history to start his career with 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He was durable, productive, and still impossible to tackle. In 1997, the Lions rewarded Barry with a massive 6-year, $34.56 million deal, including $11 million as a signing bonus. It made him the highest paid player in the NFL at the time, not just among running backs, but anyone. And Barry took the pressure and ran with it, literally. Also in 1997, Barry Sanders rushed for 2,053 yards, the 3rd most in NFL history at the time. He scored 14 more touchdowns and set the record for the most consecutive 100-yard games in a single season, 14 of them. He shared the NFL MVP award with Brett Favre and helped carry Detroit to the playoffs once again. It was the exclamation point on a near-perfect career. Out of nowhere, it ended on July 27, 1999. A shocking exit. One day before training camp, Barry Sanders sent a fax to the Wichita Eagle announcing his retirement. He was 30 years old. There was no warning, no build-up, no ceremony. My desire to exit the game is greater than my desire to remain in it. That was all he said. He finished with 15,269 rushing yards, just 1,457 yards shy of Walter Payton's all-time record. And his records were never why he played. He was just different. In his 10 seasons, he went to 10 Pro Bowls, 6 first-team All-Pro selections. 3 of his seasons, he hit 1,000 yards in rushing, and the most impressive stat of all, Sanders was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2004 on the first ballot. Teammates called him humble, opponents called him a nightmare, and fans, I just called him the greatest they'd ever seen. Barry Sanders didn't chase the spotlight. He didn't dance after touchdowns, he didn't talk trash. He simply ran, and when he was done running, he walked away. Just like he had done to defenders for a decade, he vanished without a trace, leaving nothing but broken ankles and broken records behind him. He was the ghost of greatness, and we may never see another like him again. Someone else who plays like a ghost hiding from quarterbacks is Cooper DeJean, which is how he started the Super Bowl off with a pick six on Pat Mahomes. Check this out.